Before starting, put the auto-generated YouTube subtitles in French or your mother tongue to get everything, and slow down or speed up the pace as needed. If you don't have time to watch it, just listen this video as a podcast while doing something else. Now listen and learn English as exploring our world. Have you ever looked up at a plane soaring through the sky and wondered who's inside? Maybe you picture families going on vacation, business people on their way to meetings, or maybe even yourself, jetting off to some exciting destination. But what if I told you that sometimes those planes flying overhead carry a much darker secret? What if there's no one at the controls? No passengers in the seats, just the faint hum of engines pushing a metal tube through the air, completely empty? It sounds like something out of a nightmare, a horror movie plot designed to send chills down your spine. The idea of a plane, a symbol of travel and connection, transformed into a silent, ghostly vessel is deeply unsettling. Yet, as unbelievable as it may seem, there have been instances where planes have flown for hours, sometimes even thousands of miles, with everyone on board already dead. These are the ghost flights, aircraft that continue their journeys long after tragedy has struck. Their silent passage a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the mysteries that still linger in our skies. Join us as we delve into the chilling stories of these ghost flights, exploring the events that led to these aerial anomalies and the impact they've had on the world of aviation. Imagine this. A plane takes off from the runway, carrying its passengers and crew towards their destination. Everything seems normal, routine even, but then something goes terribly wrong. Maybe it's a catastrophic mechanical failure, a sudden loss of cabin pressure, or some other unforeseen event. Whatever the cause, the result is the same. The pilots are incapacitated, the passengers rendered unconscious, and the plane is left to fly on autopilot, a ghost ship in the sky. On the ground, air traffic controllers track the plane's progress, initially unaware of the tragedy unfolding thousands of feet above. They try to make contact, their calls going unanswered, the silence from the other end growing more and more ominous with each passing minute. The plane, meanwhile, continues its journey, a metal bird with no one to guide it, no one to land it. The stories of these ghost flights have captivated the public's imagination for decades, sparking countless news reports, documentaries, and even fictional accounts. They tap into our deepest fears about flying, highlighting the precarious nature of air travel and the terrifying possibility that something could go catastrophically wrong at any moment. In this video, we'll be exploring some of the most well-known cases of ghost flights, delving into the details of these eerie events, and examining the factors that contributed to them. From the tragic case of Helios Airways Flight 522, where a pressurization failure led to the deaths of everyone on board, to the mysterious disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, which vanished without a trace, we'll uncover the stories behind these haunting flights. We'll also examine the science behind what happens during a ghost flight, exploring the physiological effects of hypoxia, the role of autopilot systems, and the limitations of aircraft fuel reserves. By understanding the technical and human factors at play, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the complexities of these incidents. But our exploration goes beyond just recounting the events of the past. We'll also investigate the aftermath of these tragedies, looking at the safety improvements that have been implemented in the aviation industry to prevent future ghost flights. From enhanced pilot training to more sophisticated alarm systems, we'll see how lessons learned from these incidents have made air travel safer for everyone. August 14, 2005, dawned bright and clear over Larnaca International Airport in Cyprus. Tourists and locals alike bustled through the terminal, their faces filled with the anticipation of travel. Among them were 115 passengers and 6 crew members preparing to board Helios Airways Flight 522. As the Boeing 737 lifted into the air, the bright Cypriot sun glinting off its fuselage, no one on board could have imagined the horror that awaited them. High above the Mediterranean Sea, Helios 522 embarked on what seemed like a routine flight. The thin air at 30,000 feet was about to make its presence known in the most terrifying way imaginable. Unseen danger at 30,000 feet. As Helios 522 cruised towards Athens, the decreasing cabin pressure began to take its toll. Oxygen levels dwindled, starving passengers and crew of the vital element they needed to survive. Symptoms were subtle at first: lightheadedness, fatigue, shortness of breath. Many dismissed these sensations as travel weariness, unaware of the invisible danger. As the plane climbed higher, the effects of hypoxia intensified. Confusion set in, followed by dizziness and blurred vision. Some felt tightness in their chests, hearts pounding as they struggled for oxygen. Children became restless and irritable, their cries echoing through the cabin. The true nature of the crisis remained unclear, masked by gradual symptoms. The passengers and crew were trapped, the air they breathed turning against them. In the cockpit, Captain Merton and First Officer Charalambous felt the effects first. Their thinking became clouded, movements sluggish. Warning lights flickered, signaling the drop in cabin pressure. The pilots attempted to contact air traffic control, their voices garbled and faint. Mayday calls, if made, went unanswered, lost in the static. As hypoxia tightened its grip, the pilots slipped in and out of consciousness. Meanwhile, passengers were succumbing to hypoxia at an alarming rate. Some fumbled for oxygen masks that failed to deploy due to a faulty valve. Others, clouded by confusion and fear, slumped in their seats. The once vibrant cabin fell eerily silent, broken only by labored breathing. Section 3. A plane adrift, ghostly calls, and a race against time. Helios 522 drifted off course over the Aegean Sea, its autopilot functioning flawlessly, unaware of the tragedy unfolding inside. Air traffic controllers watched in growing concern as the plane's transponder signal became intermittent. Frantic calls to the cockpit went unanswered. Greek authorities scrambled 2 F-16 fighter jets to intercept the unresponsive aircraft. The fighter jets approached Helios 522, finding it eerily serene. But the cockpit windows were dark, the pilot seats empty. Through the windows, slumped figures were visible, lifeless. The F-16 pilots attempted contact, but their efforts were in vain. Helios 522, now a ghost ship, continued its silent journey. The ghost plane was on a collision course with the mountains of mainland Greece. Section 4. The Final Descent, a Tragedy in the Grecian Hills. At 12:04 p.m. local time, Helios Airways Flight 522 crashed into a hillside near Grammatiko, Greece. The impact sent a plume of smoke and debris billowing into the sky. Emergency services rushed to the crash site, but their efforts were hampered by the remote location. The plane was broken into countless pieces, scattered across a wide area. There were no survivors. All 121 souls on board perished, their lives cut short by a series of tragic events. The crash raised serious questions about airline safety protocols. Investigators launched a full-scale inquiry into the cause of the crash. Their findings painted a chilling picture of the final moments of Helios 522. The investigation revealed missed opportunities to avert disaster. The crash serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of rigorous safety protocols. Beyond the technical failures, the story of Helios 522 stands as a testament to the enduring power of hope. A champion takes flight. Payne Stewart's final journey begins. The year was 1999. Payne Stewart, a name synonymous with charisma and talent, was at the pinnacle of his golfing career. On October 25th, Stewart boarded a private jet at Orlando International Airport. His destination? Dallas, Texas. The plane lifted into the bright blue Florida sky. None of them could have known that this routine flight would become a chilling parable of fate. The unseen hand, a stealthy threat in the cabin. Cabin pressure, an essential element of high-altitude flight, is crucial for maintaining a breathable atmosphere for passengers and crew. Without it, the human body cannot function properly, and the effects are swift and devastating. As the pressure inside Stewart's Learjet began to drop, the air thinned and the oxygen levels plummeted. This insidious change, however, would have been barely perceptible at first, especially for passengers engrossed in conversation or lost in thought. The initial symptoms of hypoxia, or oxygen deprivation, are subtle lightheadedness, a feeling of euphoria, perhaps a mild headache. It is easy to imagine Stewart and his companions dismissing these sensations as travel fatigue or the after effects of a celebratory evening. But as the plane climbed higher, soaring westward over the American heartland, the effects of hypoxia intensified. Muscles begin to weaken, coordination falters, and cognitive functions decline. Confusion sets in, followed by impaired judgment and an inability to concentrate. Inside the Learjet, the laughter would have gradually ceased, replaced by a disorienting silence as the unseen hand of hypoxia tightened its grip. The pilots, responsible for the lives in their hands, would have been among the first to succumb to the effects of oxygen deprivation. Their vision would have blurred, their movements clumsy, their thinking muddled. Warning lights, alerting them to the drop in cabin pressure, might have flickered unnoticed as their brains struggled to process information. The radio, their lifeline to the outside world, would have fallen silent, their calls for help going unanswered as they slipped in and out of consciousness. Across America's heartland, a plane flies on, a testament to modern aviation technology and the chilling indifference of fate. The Learjet 35, its autopilot engaged, continued westward. Air traffic controllers watched in growing concern. Frantic attempts to contact the plane were met with silence. The Learjet, now a ghost ship, was unresponsive. Fighter jets were scrambled to intercept the errant aircraft. The fighter pilots saw nothing. The Learjet's windows were dark, opaque portals. The plane, still flying straight, offered no clues. The fighter pilots could only watch helplessly. The plane was on a collision course with destiny. Vanishing Act, a routine flight takes an unthinkable turn. The date, March 8, 2014. The world watched in disbelief as news broke of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 vanishing without a trace. The Boeing 777, carrying 239 souls, departed Kuala Lumpur for Beijing. The flight began like countless others. Families settled in, business travelers opened laptops. The first leg was uneventful. The crew maintained routine contact with air traffic control. Then, at 1:19 a.m., the unthinkable occurred. The plane's transponder went silent. The aircraft disappeared from radar screens. The silence from the cockpit was deafening, a silence that would soon grip the world. What followed was a frantic search and rescue operation. Ships and aircraft scoured the waters, hoping to find survivors. Families gathered at airports, their faces etched with worry, their hopes dwindling with each passing hour. The disappearance of MH370 wasn't just a tragedy, it was an enigma, a mystery that defied explanation. How could a sophisticated aircraft simply vanish without a trace? This question fueled an international search for answers, a search that would stretch on for years, uncovering more questions than answers. Whispers in the static, the search for clues in a sea of data. Investigators from around the world descended upon Kuala Lumpur, piecing together fragmented clues. They pored over radar data, satellite transmissions, and automated communications. MH370 had flown south over the Indian Ocean, far off its intended flight path. The search shifted to a remote stretch of the southern Indian Ocean. A few pieces of debris washed ashore, offering hints but no definitive answers. The absence of a definitive explanation intensified the anguish of those left behind. Unanswered questions, theories, and speculation cloud the truth. The mystery of MH370 became fertile ground for speculation, with theories ranging from the plausible to the outlandish. Experts and armchair detectives alike grappled with the limited data. Some theories focused on mechanical failures, suggesting a catastrophic decompression, or a malfunctioning autopilot system. Others pointed to human error, speculating about pilot suicide or hijacking, or even a deliberate attempt to evade radar detection. Geopolitical tensions and the involvement of multiple nations added to the complexity. Conspiracy theories flourished, fueled by the lack of transparency and the difficulty of verifying information. Some theories alleged a cover-up, suggesting that MH370 had been shot down or forced to land, its wreckage concealed to hide evidence of foul play. Others proposed more outlandish scenarios, involving secret military exercises or UFO abductions. The proliferation of theories, often lacking in credible evidence, only served to muddy the waters. The truth, elusive and frustratingly out of reach, remained hidden within the labyrinth of data, speculation, and conjecture. MH370's impact on aviation and beyond. The disappearance of MH370 sent shockwaves throughout the aviation industry, exposing vulnerabilities in global air traffic control systems. The International Civil Aviation Organization implemented new regulations requiring airlines to track aircraft more frequently. Beyond the technical aspects, MH370 highlighted the profound human cost of such tragedies. The families became a powerful symbol of resilience and hope. The legacy of MH370 serves as a solemn reminder of the importance of continuous improvement in air safety. The Skeleton Crew and the Vanished Flight. The chilling tale of Santiago Flight 513 disappeared in 1954, reappeared in 1989. Inside, skeletal remains of passengers and crew. A time warp, a portal in the sky. The legend spread, fueled by the internet. Unraveling the threads of a ghostly tale. Santiago Flight 513 crumbles under scrutiny. No credible evidence supports its existence. No reputable news sources reported the event. The story likely originated in urban legends. Despite its lack of facts, it persists, highlighting our fascination with mysteries. Section 1. The Silent Killer. Understanding Hypoxia's Grip. To truly grasp the terrifying reality of ghost flights, we must first understand the invisible force that often plays a crucial role in these aerial tragedies, hypoxia. This silent killer, lurking in the thin air at high altitudes, is the deprivation of oxygen, and its effects on the human body can be swift and devastating, especially within the confined environment of a plane's pressurized cabin. Imagine yourself on a typical flight. As the plane ascends, the air pressure outside decreases. To compensate, the cabin is pressurized, mimicking the air pressure at a lower altitude. However, when a pressurization failure occurs, the cabin altitude begins to rise, meaning the air thins and the available oxygen drops. This is where hypoxia begins its insidious creep. Initially, the symptoms are subtle, easily dismissed as travel fatigue or a slight headache. You might feel a little lightheaded, perhaps even a bit euphoric. This deceptive sense of well-being is one of hypoxia's cruel tricks, lulling its victims into a false sense of security. As the oxygen deprivation worsens, the symptoms escalate. Clear thinking becomes difficult, coordination falters, and vision blurs. You might experience tingling sensations, nausea, or even a bluish tint to your skin. Your judgment clouds and your motor skills deteriorate, making even simple tasks seem impossible. In the confined space of a plane's cockpit, these effects can be disastrous, as pilots struggle to maintain control of the aircraft, their cognitive and physical abilities rapidly declining. Section 2. Anatomy of a Ghost Flight, when technology and tragedy intersect. Ghost flights are tragic interplays of human vulnerability and technological limitations. Modern aircraft are marvels of engineering, but autopilot systems are not foolproof. In sudden crew incapacitation, autopilot follows its last instructions. Fuel reserves will eventually dwindle, leading to descent. The plane, now a ghost ship, will descend until it crashes or runs out of fuel, honoring the past, shaping a safer future. Ghost flights, while tragic, have driven crucial advancements in safety protocols and technology. These tragedies remind us of the fragility of life at high altitudes and the importance of vigilance. Lessons learned have spurred innovations, transforming air travel and making skies safer. Enhanced pilot training programs now focus on pressurization emergencies. Pilots undergo rigorous training in altitude chamber simulators, practicing emergency procedures. This training equips them to recognize hypoxia and execute life-saving maneuvers. Manufacturers have improved pressurization systems and added redundant safety features. Modern airliners have sensors that monitor cabin pressure and deploy oxygen masks automatically. These systems act as silent guardians, maintaining a breathable atmosphere inside the cabin.